Hi, this is Mark McCauley. I'm Vice President of Government Affairs at the Nonprofit Alliance, and this is the monthly legislative update. To say the least, we've been very busy here in Washington. The big news was the passage by the Senate earlier this week of the massive postal reform bill. The legislation has several positive provisions, including moving the large postal retiree health care cost off the Postal Service and on to Medicare, where most retiree health care costs reside. That's positive. However, the legislation does not have any language dealing with the slowing down of future postal rates, and that's a significant deficiency. Also, the postal reform bill, which earlier passed the House and now has passed the Senate, will go on to President Biden, and the president has said he will sign it into law. Now the task we face on the postal front is to get legislation enacted which would require the Postal Regulatory Commission to do a new study on the postal rate structure, in effect, a second study. And we think this is very appropriate because the postal reform legislation reduced retiree health care costs by approximately $50 billion over the next 10 years. We believe that is reason to restructure the current rates and allow for some reduction given that this large liability no longer exists. We're working hard. There are a bipartisan group of 7 senators who are very interested in moving legislation to call for a second rate study by the Postal Regulatory Commission, and this will be one of our top priorities. One caveat, even if this legislation passes, there's no guarantee the Postal Regulatory Commission in doing a new study will ultimately result in lower future postal rates. But we believe there's a strong argument to ask them to do the second study, and there could be some benefit on rates. Also, this past week, we had a very successful virtual fly-in. We discussed the postal issue. In fact, it was on the floor of the Senate as we were having our meetings, and we spent quite a bit of time on the universal charitable deduction issue. And here we have some very good news to report. One of our champions on the issue, Senator Chris Coons, Democrat of Delaware, after our meeting, was able to work with one of his colleagues, Senator Maggie Hassan, Democrat of New Hampshire, and Senator Hassan has now joined the universal charitable deduction legislation as a co-sponsor. We have 15 senators as co-sponsors of this very important bill, and we're hoping to have the universal charitable deduction renewed for this year, for 2020. It did expire year-end 2021, and we'd like it renewed as soon as possible. Finally, I cannot close without mentioning national privacy legislation, one of the Nonprofit Alliance's top priorities. And during our recent virtual fly-in, we met with the staff of Senator Jerry Moran, Republican of Kansas. Senator Moran has been a champion in calling for national privacy legislation. And while it appears no legislation will be enacted this year, if we can get things moving next year in terms of national privacy legislation, Senator Moran will again be one of the key players. So I hope everyone has a good week and good luck.